Welcome back, everyone. Today, I'll be covering Katherine in the Genshin Impact universe. I wasn't entirely sure what I wanted to say about her, but I've decided on 3 sections. First, her backstory. Next, her vision. And lastly, I decided to do a section about what she thinks about other characters, similar to voice lines you'd find in-game for other characters. I do want to mention that since Katherine is from an unreleased region, at the moment at which I'm uploading this video, information about the region isn't 100% accurate. Only certain parts that have already been put in the game regarding the region are accurate. Also, spoiler warning for Child's real name and some parts of his backstory. Alright, let's get started with her backstory. Katherine is originally from Snezhna, but currently lives in Mondstadt. Similarly to the Demon Slayer universe, Katherine grew up surrounded by loving parents and siblings. Her parents were snow globe makers. She enjoyed making her own snow globes as well as watching her parents work. Something that she loved doing more than making snow globes was ice skating. She did it a lot during her free time, and that's how she ended up meeting Ajax. She was skating across the ice one day and ended up bumping into a young Ajax and his father. Katherine apologized for interrupting their bonding time and was about to leave when Ajax's father told her she could join them. She took a seat and became invested in the stories the older man told. Time passed and the sun started to set. Realizing how late it had gotten, Katherine thanked Ajax and his father for letting her join them. She was hesitant to ask if she could come by again. However, Ajax's father told her if she came by again, she could stop and listen once again. She consistently came by, but one day, she could only find Ajax's father. She carefully walked up to him and asked him about where Ajax had gone. To this, he answered that he wasn't sure himself. Apparently, he had run away. Katherine was, obviously, quite surprised. She sat with Ajax's father to keep him company before she had to head home. She told him she hoped that his son would return. That night, she prayed to the Tsaritsa that Ajax was safe and would come back to his family. After 3 days, the boy returned. Katherine was happy to see him, but she felt something off about him. He was more interested in fighting than sitting around listening to his father's stories. Also, he was getting into fights often. So much so that his father sent him to the Fatui. Katherine tried her best to keep in contact with Ajax even after he went to the Fatui, but found it difficult. That meant whatever relationship Katherine and Ajax had, disappeared as they got older. It was a few years until Katherine heard of Ajax again. Her parents had sent her on a trip to deliver a snow globe to a merchant in the town. Once delivered, she was on her way home when she overheard some Fatui skirmishers whispering. From what she heard, apparently a new harbinger had joined the ranks. Now, she didn't keep up with the news regarding the harbingers. If she was being completely honest, she didn't like the harbingers one bit, and by technical the Tsaritsa as well. The only person she had ever told about her dislike about the harbingers was Ajax. It was a small comment she had made when they had talked. They always rubbed her the wrong way. She had heard good things about all of them, but she's sure that they were only doing it out of fear. She was scared of them too, of course, but she never went out of her way to praise them. Their methods terrified her. She heard that one of them had done human experiments. So, not wanting to hear about the new harbinger, she left the market, but not before hearing something surprising. I heard the new harbinger came from a small village near the sea. Walking away, Katherine felt a fear creep up. Small village near the sea reminded her of her own village. What if Ajax was the one they were talking about? She shook off her thoughts, thinking they were too strange. Even though Ajax had been sent to the Fatui, there was little chance that he had become a harbinger, right? He was so young. But there was a chance. Her mind filled with fears and she headed home, anxious. Her fears were confirmed when she heard Ajax's description when she asked what the new harbinger was like. Her heart sank. She wondered if he would tell the rest of the harbingers what she had said. Panicked and terrified of what might happen to her, she packed her bags and in the middle of the night, left her home. She no longer wanted to live in fear of the harbingers or of the Tsaritsa herself. Their constant looming presence would never leave, so Katherine had to leave. She didn't tell her parents anything because they had been loyal to the Tsaritsa just like most people of Snezhna. They would have just called her crazy. Katherine had no plan about where she was going that night. All she knew was that she needed to find a way out of Snezhna as quickly as she could. Because of her franticness, she almost killed herself that night. Thankfully for her, a group of adventurers had found her before that happened. They took her back to the Adventurers Guild. She had suffered heavy frostbite from being in the snow for so long, so she stayed in the guild overnight. When Katherine woke up, the adventurers told her that she could go home whenever she was feeling better. She told them that she had no home in Snezhna, at least not anymore. She pleaded with them to send her somewhere else. She'd take any other place. The adventurers debated for a few days whether to send her away or not. They decided upon sending her to Mondstadt to a few childless adventurers who lived there. For the next few years, Katherine lived with the adventurers, sending letters to her family to keep them from worrying about her. She promised she'd return one day when she knew she was stronger.